Welcome, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing great. This is Loretta, Mother's Tarot, and this is video number 22 of What Star Are We From, found in my playlist on my channel under the Star Lineage tab. Okay. I hope everyone's taking real good care of themselves. I wanted to get this out earlier, and we'll get out today. And thank you for being here. Seriously, thank you. I am grateful that you're interested. Yeah. So I'm going to just begin and read the narrative and then jump right into the cards. Galactic Heritage Cards are used to help us tap into our star lineage and karmic patterns, and also reveal lessons brought to Earth from the stars, and how these lessons can be used in our life on Earth now. A star lineage spread is more accurately reflects what stellar influences are working with you now in the moment you choose the cards. If you do readings often, the cards may change, but over time you will notice a pattern that keeps emerging if you are working with the cards in a sincere way. This is a fluid system without fixed positional meanings because it represents the multidimensional and holographic nature of consciousness. Each card has a number, a civilization, a theme, and text that goes with it. The numbering order is based on the journey from unity to polarity through integration and back to unity. We have 21 different species and 108 cards in this deck. 4 timeline suits, past, present, future, and parallel. The cards are numbered based on the journey from unity to polarity and back to unity, reflecting a universal theme that of a state of oneness, a fragmentation into individuality, and the process of integration back into the state of oneness. Thus, the cards in the lower numbers represent the earliest process of unity, fragmenting into individuality, and the star consciousness who guides us. Early to mid-range numbers represent physical civilizations. The higher numbered cards are the integration cards, representing a movement of energy from unity to polarity and then to reintegration. Card numbers later in the deck represent the integrative processes of our star family as it moved towards unity. Parallel cards refer to a certain era of that civilization on the card. Future cards are an era of mature civilizations where our extraterrestrial guidance mostly comes. These cards work with your intuition. Okay, and if you're new here, these cards was created and off of the book The Prism of Lyra, an exploration of human galactic heritage. There it goes. Written by Lisa Royal Holt and Keith Priest. It's fascinating. I'm in the latter part of it. I am working up a narrative or a book report, possibly, that I'm going to do a video on this, and which will, I'm hoping to tell a straightforward story of what a lot of us consider, let's say, the time before anything, how the whole creation came about. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to being able to do that one day. So now let's begin. Our first message comes through card number 4, Confusion, Andromeda, Parallel Timeline. Interesting picture there. Yeah. Okay. And this is the third time this message is coming through for us, or for me, or if you're resonating with it, with these messages for you, especially. Okay, here we go. Confusion. We often feel safe and secure when things stay the same. When things change, we feel a profound sense of disorientation or confusion until we realign ourselves in the new reality and build a map for navigating it. To help this process, try to see that often the same messages or life lessons are being given to you in different packages. Find the continuity in these different messages and you will ease the confusion. Confusion is only the fear that you don't have a map for the reality in which you find yourself. The Andromedans are masters of change and rising above confusion. Let their energy guide you. The idea of constant change is actually embraced and understood by Andromedans because they see the fear of change as being connected to the state of attachment. Attachment to things, ideas, or ways of being can deeply hinder awakening and growth. Thus, the Andromedan reality reflects these principles. When we walk down the street, we see a consistent reality that seemingly doesn't change. But in Andromedan reality, which is more aligned with the true state of pure consciousness, reality changes constantly as a reflection of the observer. This is true for humans also, but we haven't yet understood this fact. If people cannot or will not embrace change and create a safe harbor or anchor in their own consciousness rather than in the external world, they will experience a profound confusion and fear when reality inevitably changes and they feel lost. They then become distracted by the phenomena, positive or negative, of the manifested 3D world. It is like a compass that has stopped working. They lose touch with their inner sense of direction and focus. This card is speaking about that state. If it comes up in your reading, it is usually a warning to not succumb to this trap of physical reality and to examine your life to see where you have accepted illusions as truth. Once again, there are many Andromedan guides and masters who can assist in this process. That's a good message. Change is always hard. It just is. And that's one thing that's guaranteed in life, change. It's always changing and evolving. Our second message is through the card number 22, homesickness, Vega past. There you go. See a picture? I like the art. Okay, and this time, this is the third time this message is coming through in the 22 videos because this is 22nd now. Let's see, card number 22. Here we go. The early pagan mystics retained clear memory of the source from which they fragmented. But as eons passed, that memory faded and was replaced by a profound yet vague feeling of homesickness. One reason why they were so devoted to their spiritual practices was to recapture that feeling of being connected to the source. Even though they understood the reasons for physical existence, there was an underlying desire to return home. If you have this feeling, know that it is an ancient one. It requires you to embrace physical reality as it is before you can return home. This is an important lesson. I know I feel that way. I'll continue. So many people on earth today have a feeling of homesickness. as if Earth isn't home and their true home is somewhere else. While it is easier to believe that this home is another star system with a better society, the underlying homesickness is much deeper than that. It is a longing for belonging and unity, a reflection of our true state of existence as one unified being in creation, looking through an infinite number of eyes. As humans, it can be hard to remember this true unified state, which exists simultaneously with the illusion of separation, while seeing all the hate and confusion on earth at this time. Trying to heal the feeling of homesickness is going somewhere else or living a different life is only a temporary fix. It never truly fills the emptiness. The only true home is inside of us, for that is where the source of all creation lies. If you have these feelings in your life, it is strongly suggested you begin practicing silent meditation, where you can reconnect with the sacred source inside of you. Only then can you feel at home wherever you are. Yeah, it's very true. I find that true. Okay, then we come to card number 40. We get the book here for the message about stubbornness from the Pleiades path. That picture. There you go. Okay, the message here. The message relates to having a fixed idea of how things should be and trying to force reality to fit that picture. This was a strong trait in the ancient Palladian culture, which created many problems for their civilization. Some of us still carry this habitual pattern. Take a look at the situation you want changed. Be honest and see if you are trying to force a reality that doesn't exist in the now. Be truthful. In order to make a change, we must first fully accept and relax with the situation as it is. Only then will things change in a natural way. This card also represents one of the most painful lessons of the Palladians from this era. When the species was young, they were very idealistic, much like teenagers of today. They had a view of how reality should be, and they sought to force this vision on others. This is often a challenge of new species when they are young. Earth humans have this trait as well. During the dark times of the Orient people were in a lot of pain. The young Palladian species felt it was their duty to boldly come into the Orient system and force the empire to free its people. These Palladians were blind to the fact that they were creating karma for themselves and meddling in a situation that was not theirs to fix. In response, the Orions destroyed a planet in the Palladian system that was known to be one of the most beautiful. The Palladians were stunned and traumatized, but it was the experience they needed to grow up as a species and drop their arrogance from their Lyrian forefathers. They left that planet a lifeless shell floating in space to always remind them of their own ignorance. If this card comes up in your reading, look at the surrounding cards. It may be about a connection that you have to this time in Palladian history, or it may simply be warning about becoming attached to your beliefs about how things should be in reality, and a stubborn drive to change them according to what you feel is right. It's a good message in here. There's a lot of, we can see the arrogance, especially in leaders, elected officials. Okay, did I say? Okay, yeah. The one I just read, that was the third time The message came through in card 40. Now, in card 42, blind enthusiasm, Palladian's past. Yeah. This also, the third time this message is coming through. Okay, I'm going to read this. A habitual pattern of the Palladians when they were a young species was to become very excited about an idea and implement it without thinking it through. What are the far-reaching implications of these actions? Who benefits and who is hurt? Take a good look at the times you may have done this in your current life. In the eyes of the universe, there are no mistakes. However, everyone has a responsibility to see beyond their own excitement and try to make choices that support the whole rather than simply the ego's desires. It refers to a time when the Palladians were a young species and very idealistic and enthusiastic. Like a big puppy, they often excitedly bounce from one plan to another without thinking things through, sometimes offending or hurting those on the other end of their plans. This is a quality of most young people and species, and through lessons learned, we eventually grow out of it. The Palladians today still have a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, but it isn't so blind any longer. They have learned patience, temperance, and respect in regard to others. One of the significant signs of a matured person or species is that they can make decisions with their eyes fully open and never infringe on the rights of others, force irreality on others, or become self-centered in their plans. The Palladians have achieved this state, but humans are not yet there. If this card has come up in your reading, look at the other cards to see if it might be a Palladian karma or memory of yours. Are there other cards with a similar theme? It may simply be a warning about your actions in this life as a human. Yeah, that's something I work on. I'm much better now that I'm older. But man, it was a hard lesson for me. Let me know if any of these cards resonate with you or any of the messages that are coming through on these cards. If they resonate with you. I'd be interested to know. Okay, card number 48. Atlantean era, Earth past. This is the second time this card is bringing us a message in 22 videos. Okay. And it reads, this era, spanning approximately the past 13,000 years, represents the masculine principle in a planetary cycle. This cycle is often represented by polarity, war, ignorance, and confusion about spiritual identity. It is a time of darkness and sleep. Humanity is moving out of this cycle now, and we are seeing the old ways crumbling. Do not be discouraged or by what you see around you. Consider it a sign that humanity is awakening again. You have had many significant lives in this era and are releasing karmic patterns that you've held for a very long time. Continue your spiritual work. Free yourself. Many have called Atlantis a continent, but we refer to it in this deck as an era, specifically an era of Earth's past that took place within the past 13,000 years. The Atlantean era was one of the high polarity mentally and a movement away from the connection from spirit, the connection with spirit and with nature. Many may see the Atlantean era as one of great scientific achievement, but its qualities are more reflective of the emphasis on one polarity, the masculine. More than the other, feminine. During this Atlantean era, the Orion energy brought to Earth is being healed, but sometimes this takes the form of tremendous conflict. Earth is currently at a very important point in its development. The time when the Orion drama is healing and an integration of polarities is occurring. If this card comes up in your reading, it could mean many things. It may refer to specific lives you've lived in the Atlantean era, in which polarity was a theme, but it could also have a more personal meaning. It may also refer to the integration of your inner polarities. This card asks you to examine your own life and beliefs. Do you feel more comfortable with one polarity more than another? Ultimately, our spiritual evolution depends on our ability to integrate these internal polarities as a first priority. Only then do we see the external polarities healing as a result. Look at the other cards to add dimension as to how this card fits into the whole message of your reading. Yeah. Okay, we've got a message through. Okay, this is a new one here. And card 65. Let me find it in the book here. Here we go. Okay. Card 65. Refining Galactic Lineage. Pleiades present. Yeah. Pleiades present. Could have a astronaut helmet on with that big old circle around his head. He's carrying two little ones. Huh. Let's see what the message is here. I haven't read this one yet. Okay. Pleiadians have been involved with genetic refinement projects on Earth and other planets for thousands of years and see it as a way to be of service from a cosmic point of view. If you choose this card, then you have to have most likely had this experience in other lives. This is why you have an interest in extraterrestrial consciousness in this life now. Always remember that learning about this subject is only meaningful if you see the bigger picture. Genetic projects represent the greater truth that we are all one. We are one consciousness expressing itself through many bodies. There is no separation between us. The deeper meaning of this card has to do with how all of us affect the entire holographic reality through our individual evolution. When one person evolves, so does the whole. Even though it seems as if we are housed in separate bodies and lives separate lives, this life in the physical is not really the true reality. Instead, there is only one conscious intelligence in creation that is seen through a multitude of eyes. If you look at the journey of integration represented by this card deck, this card represents how your choices and your growth lessons dramatically serve to refine and evolve creation itself. Soon, from a galactic perspective, when our one polarity civilization evolves, so does the whole galactic family. To simplify this concept, explained above plays out in your life because every choice you make affects not only the future you, but the past you as well. Time and space are illusions. You heal the past and create the future from the present moment only. When you walk a conscious spiritual path, you affect others and thus ensure the evolution of the galactic family. If this card comes up in your reading, you are being asked to understand this concept and trust that your conscious actions made with integrity and wisdom ripple outward and have a greater purpose. You may not be able to see the effect, but it is important that you trust that those actions do indeed impact the greater whole. Yeah, I do. In fact, uh, yeah, the book, The Prism of Lyra, it's a good read. I recommend it to everybody. Okay, here we go. We have Natural Humility, Lyra Future, card 69. And this is the third time this message is coming through in the 22 videos. This last one here really got to me. I understand it. I know it. I feel it. So let me know if you do. I'd be interested to know. I'm interested in what everyone thinks and feels about this journey, what we're hearing and in the messages that we're receiving. Okay, here we go. The ancient Lyran trait of arrogance eventually transformed into a beautiful trait of natural humility. This humility is not one of low self-worth, but instead it acknowledges that all beings, including the self, are equal in the eyes of the universe, and no one is more special than another. This natural humility represents a balanced ego and is essential for the transformation of a species. Look within. Begin the process of knowing that all beings in the universe are equal to you, even the Buddha. Watch how this thought can be one of the arrogance or profound. Watch how this thought can be one of arrogance or profound humility. Therein lies the lesson. The Lyran time stream represents the Lyran culture after they healed their karma and the challenges of the past when they were a young species. One of the most profound challenges of the immature Lyran species in the past was arrogance. After much self-observation and practices of generosity, they transformed their species to one that embodied a powerful humility that was natural and authentic. Most planetary species have to make this transition in order to enter the galactic community. Humans on Earth as a species, not as individuals, have not yet begun this process with full commitment. The development of this trait comes from viewing reality as a holistic unit rather than us and them. If this card came up in your reading, it could mean many things, depending on the surrounding cards and your life situation. It could mean that you are already expressing this trait. It may mean that you need to look at the world in a more holistic way, embrace the connectedness of all beings, and surrender to the view of separation in order to develop your natural humility more completely. Be honest in your self-observation and open to the messages from your higher self about what this card really means to you. It's a good message. Okay, our last message here is in 94. And I don't want to forget that, if you are one that, and you probably are if you're still with me here, that appreciates deep thought about the before time, the time that we don't know anything about. I recommend you listen to a man by the name of Brian Greene. That's Greene. Now, he doesn't have his own channel, but if you search his name in YouTube, he's interviewed a lot, a lot. I just found him um, yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he's he's one of the really, really smart people. He's one of the really, really smart people of business. He understands. He's up there with Einstein and that core few, and I mean few men that or women even, but yeah, his depth of thinking and the thing is about him though is that he's brilliant in the way that he communicates in such a simple fashion that anyone can understand his message, and it's beautiful, and some parts also are a little, you know you wide-eyed, you wonder, but anyway, he's brilliant, and I recommend you do a search for him. Okay, our last message here in this video is card number 94, mental transformation, serious future. There you go. That art in there. Really good stuff. Yeah, right there. Find it real quick here. There we go. Got it. And this is this message. This is the fourth time this message has come through. Beliefs, habits, and mental attachment cause most of the distress that we experience as humans. Sometimes we don't even realize we have them. Now that we are making a planetary transition, it requires us to let go of these obstacles to true awakening. Our future serious friends who have released these obstacles can help us with this because they provide loving guidance to help us navigate this transition. This card asks you to be truthful about your limiting beliefs and habits, even the positive ones, and open yourself to new and flexible ways of thought and being. This card accesses energy from the Sirian era after they became an awakened species and transcended to a non-physical fifth density state. The Sirians from this era are a great model for humans because when they were young, their species had many of the same challenges that plague humans now. One of these challenges is that humans are often their own worst enemies because of their destructive thought patterns that continually sabotage spiritual growth and the transformation of the planet. When the Sirians were able to transcend their destructive mental patterns, they were able to make their planetary transition with ease. If this card is in your spread, look at the other cards as well as your life circumstances for future clues. The meaning may have to do with a needed transformation that must take place in your thought and belief patterns in order for you to make a shift. Conversely, the card may be acknowledging that you have made this shift and are ready to move into a new level of growth. Self-honesty will be needed in order to know which of these options or another is accurate. It is quite possible that the guides from the Sirius era are working with you in your growth. If you feel this is the case, open yourself even more to the wisdom they can share with you. Do not fear this change, for freedom always comes from this type of mental transformation. Yep. I wonder how many of us realize the one thing I can say about, I was born into this world in the Roman Catholic Catholicism, I guess they call it, faith. I left it when I was 14. Yeah, of course, that was not easy for my family, but I made that choice that, you know, to do that because I was not getting anything out of that as far as there was no explaining anything. You're supposed to shut up, sit down, just listen, swallow it, accept it, carry on, pay your tithe. And yeah. Okay, Loretta, where were you going with this? I'm Dang it. Yeah. This has really been profound for me. And I hope it's helping you too. Um, Let me know if you would. Let me know. And I'm sorry I lost my train of thought there. All right. Um, in closing, I wish you all agape love. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Remember to love yourself and love the others and be the light. Be the light. And hopefully I'll remember what I was wanting to say there. Yeah. I'll include it in the next one if I can recall. Oh, yeah, now I do. Now I do. Yes, we're triggered by this mental transformation thing. Do you realize, are you aware? Because in the Catholic faith is when I was told that we are always, always being watched and we are always being listened to. They could hear our thoughts. They could hear what was going on in our mind. They hear our words. They see everything we do. It's true. It is absolutely true. And everything that I've read, even, the Prism of Lyra, especially, reconfirms that. And Billy Graham with for Forbidden Knowledge, it's number 4, forbiddenknowledge.com or Forbidden Knowledge TV. It's he did a documentary on the Black Knight satellite, and what he just released once again, he released the documentary. I think it was last year. I've seen it 3 times, I think. And he explained, what was it? I think he just came on and did a video. Yeah, it was real recently about the Black Knight satellite. And yeah, it's picking up messages and sending them back to Epsilon, the Epsilon star system. Yeah, it's real interesting. And Christ, that's a fact, historical fact. Christ is the founding fathers, and the founding fathers is the energy, the consciousness that is within every planet and every star. And they were, who was it? I don't remember right off the hand. It could have been, what's it, the Orions, or it's the Arcturus the Arcturus system, or energy field, vibrational field, in that field is the same field that the archangels reside in and Christ consciousness resides in. I think it was out of that field, and this was before, well, it was out of that field that a call went out to the founding fathers. So the planets and the stars, the consciousness, that Earth was in trouble and they needed help. And they asked the founders for help. And the founders, one of the founders, went through like the white light of prism, the prism light. You know, we've got black holes and we've got white holes. It was one of the white ones that had come through. And he was born into the Virgin. And her name wasn't really Mary, but it didn't really matter. It was a girl. And yeah, it's quite a story. And I'm going to tell that story in the report that I'm writing up from reading The Prism of Lyra. And it explains Christ and explains the worlds and the people and their affection for Earth. The Pleiades have a serious affection for Earth. You know, they were once here, and there were other factions that showed up, and it just got really unbearable. And that's why the Pleiadians left the planet. But they still come back to check on it, check on us. Anyway, it's a fascinating story. I recommend it that you read Prism of Lyra, The Prism of Lyra. Or you can wait until I do my report on it, because I am going to do that. Anyway, thank you for being here, everyone. I love you. Take really good care of yourself. And remember, love yourself. I wish you all agape love. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Remember to love yourself and the others. Be the light. Until the next video, I'll see you then. Bye for now.